Okay, thank you. Good to go. So today we are going to look at the Sankhāra. There are 5 different Sankhāras which are indicated. One is singular Sankhāro and a plural Sankhāra. Okay, so what is Sankhāro? Singular is which affects that person individually in whatever he is intending to do. So here are the 3. Kaya Sankhāro, Vachi Sankhāro, Mano Sankhāro. These are 3 Sankharas. Kaya Sankhāro is explained as Asapasa, in breath, out breath. Vachi Sankhāra is Vitakka Vichara. And Mano Sankhāro is feeling and perception, Vedana and Sanya. Okay. And the other Sankharas are 3, which is Punyabhi Sankhāra, Apunyabhi Sankhāra, Aninjabhi Sankhāra. So totally, if you see 3 on an individual, another 3 on a applicable at all the time. Now, what Buddha explains as Sankhāra is Sankaronti, Abhisankaronti iti Sankhāra. That means if there is an intention and over and above intentions, that means it should happen this way. I want it to work this way. That is Sankhāra. Now, is Sankhāra related to karma? Or are they both the same? Are they different? Because Chetana is intention, and he says, Chetana aham bhikkave kammam vadami. So means he says that this is karma. And then the Sankhāra is also Abhisancheti iti or Abhisankaronti. All that he uses means, again, there is Sanchetana there. Yes, it is, but not in a real, what we can say, joining sense. So let's understand how this whole thing works. Comes Vasana. In few places, Buddha uses this word Vasana, but he doesn't use it in maximum of the cases, because Vasana in real sense means smelling. It means you smell, you do, habits are formed due to the long association with that smell. So from Vasana comes Sankhāra, and from Sankhāra it becomes karma. So when we say that there is karma, it's the next level, not the first level. Let's forget Vasana for time being. I'll come to that later. Let's deal with the Sankhāra and karma. So deed is one thing, which is a flowing of Sankhāra, and Sankhāra means volition, if you take English word, or choosing one over the other. Okay. In another sense, since it is connected to Abhinivesa, it can be also called as preparations. Like I want to prepare for my office. Okay, let's say that is a Sankhāra. So when I want to prepare for my office, there are 2 times I is coming into existence. One I as I want to prepare, I want to get ready for my office. So when I put my office and my wife and my son and my kid or whatever that is, my house, etc., there is a change in the breathing pattern. Okay. And that is the reason it is called as Kaya Sankhāro, because it affects an individual. That means the way I am breathing might not be the same as what Aryu is breathing, or might not be the same how Bobby is breathing, even though we are just breathing. So there is a change in the pattern. Okay. And hence Asapasa Kaya Sankhāro. Then comes to Vachi Sankhāra or Vachi Sankhāro. Vitakka Vichara, which is Sankhāra. The first thing we need to drop when we want to meditate, or rather get into jhana, is Vitakka Vichara. Now, what is Vitakketi and Vichareti? This is Vichara, Vitakka in terms of utilizing, or how it is, how the language takes, how do you use it. It's more about usage. So Vichareti and Vitakketi. Now, when I say Vitakka, it means tarka, to debate. Vitarka is to extensively debate. What should I do and what should I not do? So most of the time, or rather 99% of the time, every human being, animal, bird, insects are on Vitarka. Vitarka of what? Food, shelter, and these are the two things which are there in animal, birds, insects. That's what they search for. Mammals, they require place to stay. So then the third one comes into existence. And in humans, there is medication. So 4 requisites. So the Vitarka is on these 4 basic necessity, which is the building block of life. You can't live without these 4. Then there comes Vichara. Whatever you have been debating, I'll do this, I'll not do this, I'll do this, I'll not do this, turns itself into a Vichara. Vichara in English means thinking, but in many books it is written as pondering. So, and Vitakka, they translate it as thinking. I don't know why, but you can take whatever you want, but that's what it means. So, without thinking and pondering, if I take Sujato or somebody else, or rather, without debating and thinking, you cannot make sentences. So, we first do Vitarka and then do Vichara and convert that into a language. So 3 things are happening at once. As soon as I see Bobby, or as soon as I see Shaniel or Ariu, and if they are conversing, before their conversation happens, they are debating on what they want to say. And then they think it over. But we might say we are on autopilot mode. Yes, it is. Many of the words we speak are autopilot because we are used to it, meaning it is habitual. So what Buddha is trying to do is to cut the habitual tendencies by slowing it down. So when we go to a Vipassana retreat, as in Goenka, the first thing the Burmese did is to cut the talk itself. So it's called Arya Mauna, meaning noble silence. Why? Now you can't speak. Now this Vitarka and Vichara keeps on happening in the mind. You will have mind chatter. Through breath, watching the mind chatter reduces. So if you take Twim of Vimala Ramsi, or you take Chuladasa, or you take whosoever, whatever, the basic aim is to have a foreground and a background. The foreground representing the breath, the background representing the thoughts. If I am on the breath, the background will slow down. If I am on the thoughts, the background will be the breath, which means anything can be spoken. And then it leads to worry, which is a hindrance. I call it slip of the tongue. Oh, My goodness, I shouldn't have spoken this. Because there is a background and a foreground. So if you have followed Mind Illuminated book properly, the peripheral awareness, if you develop, it'll always hold that thought in the background rather than moving into the foreground. So you're reducing the vitaka and vichara at that point in time. Instead, you're doing a savitaka savichara, means using yoniso manasikara, which means discretionary way of thinking and pondering, if I could use that word, or yoniso means matrix, going to the root. So now you know, if I speak this, I don't think so it will be liked. So I'll not speak. I was about to say something nasty. I'll just stop. And that energy builds up so much in the body that it, and just watch it. It picks up and falls down. And then I won it over. So then what happened? The Sankhāra is not there. Or Sankhāro is not there. Vachi Sankhāro is dropped. Then what happens to the feeling and perception? Mano Sankhāro or Chitta Sankhāro. It's gone. No feeling, no perception. So what did I do? I just watched the breath. Asapasa is connected to the body. So as soon as the words are said by someone, I'm making it up in the mind, what is he saying? Or looking at the body language of that person. I get to see that he's upset at me. So he's going to send a volley of words to me. So I watch the breath. The body is stilled. So he's shouting. What I do is, I apply metta on myself. What happens to the Vachi Sankhāra? No Vachi Sankhāra is there. And what happens to Mano Sankhāra? I'm not feeling anything, nor I'm perceiving anything. Isn't that Nibbana? Yes, it is. Okay. So in the Chulavedala Sutta, Dhammadina asked this question. Before entering into Nirodha Samapatti, what should be the steps? What should stop? And what should continue? So this is more to do with me and Shaniel when we meet. Is the first, the Vitakka Vichara should stop. The second, the Kaya Sankhāro should stop. And these two will stop the Mano Sankhāro. And when that happens, it will be a brief of millisecond. It will give you an opportunity to say what time or what event should occur for the Kaya Sankhāro, Vachi Sankhāro, Mano Sankhāro to appear. And he will know or I will know when that happens. Then you can say, set a number to it or some event to it, some sound, something out of 5 senses. It need not be a number as in the number of 90 minutes. Okay, you don't have to do that. Some sound appearing, like if I were to do this on Sydney. So the moment the Sydney is spoken, it comes back. How do we practice it? How does it work? Same Dhammadina explains to Visakha. Visakha, my dear friend, first comes when you're coming back, what should come back? You're gone out like this. What should come back? In what way it should come back? She says, first the Mano Sankhara will come. Why? Sydney is a perception, and the feeling will come. Then that brings in the Kaya Sankhara. No, Vachi Sankhara. Then comes the Kaya Sankhara. So then the question comes, what happens in between? It is still Sabba Sankhara Samato, Sabbupadi Patinisaggo, Tanhakkayo, Virago, Nirodho, Nibbana. And hence, Etan Santan, Etan Panitan. This is peaceful, this is proficient. So what did I do? Didn't do anything, except that I stopped the Sankhāras. How did I stop the Sankhāra? By not refueling it using the consciousness, which we discussed yesterday. So there is no establishing of the consciousness, either on the name and form or on Sankhāra, which we can call it as preparation or volition or whatever you want to call, but that is what it is. And then what's going to happen? It stops the Sankhāra. Yes, Bobby?
I think, Vilasi, did you said that the perception that Mano Sankhāra arises first, and then what you said, like, is it...
Mano Sankhāra doesn't arise when you are coming back.
When you're coming by, yeah. You're coming by Mano Sankhāra, then?
You just see, if there is sound coming, where does it come?
Yeah, then it is Kaya Sankhāra, right? Second one.
Kaya means breath, in breath, out breath.
Yeah, that's what is coming second.
I'm not talking about second or first. Now, if you have completely shut down the computer, how would you come back? Think and answer.
So you mean when you switch on the computer?
Yes, sir.
The screen will come?
No. When you are coming back into the world, see now, Bobby, first you need to understand like this. When you go to deep sleep, what comes first? When you want to wake up, what comes first? Forget about this Nibbanic bliss and all that, or Nirodha Samapatti. Explain to me from deep sleep. Somebody wakes you up, what comes first?
Perception.
Yes. So what is coming first now?
The
Mano Sankhāra.
Mano Sankhāra.
Yes, that's coming first. Then what happens?
Then the Kaya Sankhāra comes.
How?
Because then you start experiencing the body, and
then what happens to Vachi Sankhāra?
Vachi Sankhāra comes last.
How? Now you have to first make yourself doing that. When they wake you up,
yeah,
you start, who is it? Is that Vachi Sankhāra or is it Kaya Sankhāra?
That is Vachi Sankhāra.
Simple.
But in the Sutta it is written Kaya Sankhāra comes second. That's why
That's fine, but try it out. Then we'll come to see how this Kaya Sankhāra will come. You're sleeping, Bobby. Marin, as usual, she wants to pinch you. Now what will come first? She pinches you, so the Mano Sankhāra will have to come.
Yes.
right? So there's a
Yes.
feeling and perception. First, you'll perceive some obstruction,
Yeah.
and then, oh, why are you pinching me? Now,
That is
in this activity, tell me all the three.
the first one is that perception and feeling is coming.
Hmm.
Yeah.
That is okay. Now you
Yeah.
come to the second one. From where
Second
did
one,
you get the pain?
second, that is very hard to understand. That's why I was remembering that sutta. It is definitely I perceive the body. There is some part of the body. There it is spinning, right? So I perceive that ruba, or that body part, and then I think about the unpleasant or the pain, the vichara vijaka. So I know these things are happening very fast, but I remember in the suttas. That's why when you said that, I immediately gone back to the sutta and said, it is written mental process comes first, then physical, then verbal.
Hmm. So now what happens here is like this. If you see the pattern in your experience before Arhat, or when you are in Anagami and you are on the way to Arhat, is one. When you are at Anagami is another one. Only these two people can experience this. Okay. So let's put it to work. When she says, Dhammadina says, and if you see furthermore, he starts asking the question on Nirodha Samapatti itself. Why? Because from his experience, the counterpart is what he's asking. When this happens, what's the counterpart of it? When it's pleasant feeling, what's the counterpart of it? Is unpleasant.
Dhammadina is Vishaka is an anagami and Dhammadina is an arahant.
Arhat, yes.
Yeah.
So from the perspective of Anagami, it is Mano Sankhāra, Vachi Sankhāra, and Kaya Sankhāra. From the perspective of Arhat, she is saying Mano Sankhāra, Kaya Sankhāra, Vachi Sankhāra.
So Vishaka says that it is Manosankhara comes first, and
No,
then
both are Mano Sankhāra. Without that, you can't come back to life.
Sorry, so Anagami, like Vishaka says, it is second coming is Vaji Sankhara.
As an Arhat, it is Arhat, it is Kaya Sankhāra.
Kaya Sankhara, but as a
Right.
Anagami, it is Vaji Sankhara.
Yes, let me explain to you the differentiation here. A normal Puttujana going on a deep sleep mode is equivalent to Nirodha Samapatti. First, you should know that. There's no difference between Nirodha Samapatti and the deep sleep. In deep sleep, you don't know how you went to deep sleep. In Nirodha Samapatti, you went to Nirodha Samapatti. So there's only two differences. First, you need to understand. Second, when mosquito bites or something bites and the consciousness comes back, it comes back with feeling and perception. That is same irrespective of Arhat or an Anagami or a Puttujana. Same. When you come back, you will verbalize at an Anagami stage, whereas in the case of an Arhat, as in the case of Puttujana, it is change in breath. Okay. And then he verbalizes. Now the question comes, why does the person verbalize first and not the asapasa changing, the in-breath, out-breath changing? Is because it is so fast that they both merge. That means, oh, so you're doing the breath and verbalizing at the same time. Whereas for an Arhat, it's a complete disintegration of it. This is one thing, this is another thing. So he, being a master of breathing, he's always on that. So for him, if anything happens on the mano, it affects the kaya, which is in breath, out breath, because his sati is strong. So When compared to Arhat, Anagami Sati is weak. So he can't get to distinguish between the Vachi Sankhara and the Kaya Sankhara. So when we read the sutta, it's from Dhammadinna's perspective, not from Visakha's perspective.
Is it written anywhere in Vishaka's perspective or any Anagami's perspective?
When you become Anagami, Bobby, you will experience all of this. I only wish, Bobby, you become an Anagami. That's the only thing I can do is to give you the apple and ask you to eat it, or mango.
Okay.
Other than that, there's no other way to tell you. Like when Shaniel gets it, he can explain to you back that what comes, and that is how the sequence comes. Okay, till you get there, it's a mystery that how, because even with the breath where to change, you see this thing. He says Mano Sankhara. Okay, in the last. First comes Vachi Sankhara, then comes Kaya Sankhara, then comes Mano Sankhara to go. Now to come back, it should be coming back in the same sequence.
Yes.
Yes. So now when the Mano Sankhara comes back, Mano Sankhara went in the last, so the first thing to come is Mano Sankhara. The second thing to go, the first thing to go out was what? Vitaka Vichara. And then the Kaya Sankhara went out. And then the Mano Sankhara went out. So isn't it the same way? Yes.
Yeah.
Indeed it is the same way. But how would you experience it? That's the question. How would you exactly experience it? The Mano Sankhara is the same because it's feeling and perception. You start to feel, oh, something bit me. Something bit me is a feeling. There's a pain or some irritation. And you're perceiving it as an insect or your own wife beating you or your son beating you, your daughter beating you, or whatever it is a perception. Right? Now, if you see, you will get it on Kaya. Yes, it's on Kaya only, but breathing pattern. Before you come into the breathing pattern, you verbalize it. Who is that person? What is this? That is the Vitaka Vichara. In an Arhat, very strangely, he doesn't have this. Because it's always Savitaka, Savichara, Piti, Sukha, Ekagata, right? These are the 5 jhanic factors. He's always in that factor. So, in that way, it can never be Vachi Sankhara in the middle and Kaya Sankhara in the end. It would be Kaya Sankhara in the middle and Vachi Sankhara in the end. And that's a misunderstanding what Visakha also has when coming to Nirodha Samapatti. Got the point? Okay. Now, how you can experience Nirodha Samapatti? You are experiencing it every given day. Nirodha is cessation. When do you cease to exist, Bobby? When you go to deep sleep. Just take it from there. None of us exist in deep sleep. But that's ignorance. So, can I have Vijja? Yes. How would you do it? You have to exactly mimic what happens in deep sleep. So let's do that. First and foremost, the Sankharo has to be stopped. How do you stop it? A simple process. If you are thinking and pondering, or when you are debating and thinking, can you get sleep? No. Because the mind is occupied. That's so true. So that's correct. You do the same thing. Go to the first jhana, watching the breath. Then the whole body starts breathing. then the thoughts are cut off. So savitakka savichara will give you piti and sukha. Now, what would happen in a deep sleep is happening now, which is sukha. Why? Eye sense door got shut, ear sense door got shut, like that all the five sense door, only leaving the mano active. That is, you can still feel and perceive while you are in deep sleep. Initial deep sleep, I'm not talking about deep as a deep sleep. Initial deep sleep, there is little amount of activity. It's a borderline of dream and deep sleep. Initially, you are in dream state, and then you are now in deep, almost in deep. If somebody shakes you up, you can still wake up. Let's say the wife is sleeping next, and she just touches like this. Yeah, why? Why did you wake me? No, it was by mistake. Then again, he turns or whatever he was sleeping, and then goes to sleep. Here, the vitakka vichara is not being there. It affects your breathing cycle. And hence, if you like a HRV monitor or even these Apple watches, it'll show you a lesser heartbeats because there's no activity. So the heart is at complete rest. So when we see that happening, the next one, Kaya Sankhāra, you just have whatever is required for life support. That breathing will remain. The mental support is removed. That means there is no hard breathing because there are no emotions which are coming out or nothing. So the mano will sleep. When it sleeps, you can't have feeling and perception. So if somebody were to ask you, Bobby, what did you do from, let's say, 9:30 till 4:30 a.m.? Nobody can answer. You can only say to me, Vilasji, I had a best sleep today. I slept well. Now somebody
some of the dreams I can remember.
Because you are in the borderline of deep sleep. There is still feeling and perception. Only then you know it's a dream. If you remove feeling and perception, where's the dream? So let's put it into practice. First, we are talking waking. That means all the six senses are completely consumed of consciousness. That means it has taken conscious space. Sight, sound, taste, touch, smell, and thoughts, all fighting for resources. So it is resource hungry. How does it show? On this watch, it shows is ECG going, and one is EEG. If you put a thing to the brain and the brain activity is showing. So it shows that both EEG and ECG, EEG machine or Ariu has it. In fact, Ariu has all machines. So he'll put that band and then it mimics EEG machine. Okay. So it's a nice one. He has gifted me one while he was there in Bangalore. It's a real nice piece of magnetic sensory thing which will sense any activity in the brain and then shows up. Very good one, the way they have done it, but it cannot replace the EEG machine, but fairly does the job. Okay, so if you put EEG machine and you put circuits around your heart, you can literally see a transformative experience of alpha, beta, theta, gamma, delta waves. And it will show up how each one is climbing and how it is dipping. Also, they call it as rapid eye movement, a REM sleep. So if you get into these details, then you know what happens to the brain when the senses are cut off. So you go to the depth of voidness. And that's what the Sankhāra are stilled. At that moment, there are no Sankhāras. Sabba Sankhāra Samato. Sabbu Padipati Nissaggo. You don't have Rupa, Vedana, Sanya, Sankhāra, Vijnana being there. Tanhakhayo. What is there to crave in the deep sleep? You don't even have a wife, or a son, or a daughter, or a house, or even on your own bed for that matter. So that is Nibbana. It's not real Nibbana. I'm just giving an example of Nibbana, so don't take it, oh, that means deep sleep because Nibbana. Who said so? Vilas said so. No. Just trying to give you an analogy. It's analogy only. If somebody wants to know how the Nibbana comes, this is how it comes. So can you enter into sleep? No. Sleep will take you. In the same way, you can't attain Nibbana. Nibbana will take you. You can't enter into Nibbana. Nibbana takes you. You can't enter into Nirodha Samapatti. Nirodha Samapatti happens to you. So basically, this is what we need to understand in these three, Kaya, Vachi, Mano. Now we come to the other three, which are Sankhāra, plural. So the three kinds. Punya Abhisankhāra, which means merits. Removal of 10 immoral deeds is Punya Abhisankhāra. Or having parmis and all of that, dana, sila, whatever that is again Punya Abhisankhāra. Abhisankaronti means projecting to do it again and again. I want to do this again and again. So it becomes an Abhisankhāra. So in the Chitta, you are trying to have this all the time. Then the second one is Apunya Abhisankhāra. Going on immoral acts are Apunya Abhisankhāra. It will affect the energy system, or what we can say, consciousness, to experience the consequence of wrong actions. That means dukkha. So in Punya Abhisankhāra, you get sukha, and in Apunya Abhisankhāra, you get dukkha. And Aninja Abhisankhāra. Inja is to shaking. Aninja Abhisankhāra is basically 4 arupa jhanas. Okay? So this is what you need to know about these Sankhāras. And that appears in consciousness. And when the Sankhāras are stilled, nothing appears in consciousness, like in the deep sleep. So there can't be any nama and rupa and salayatana and phassa and vedana and tanha and upadana and bhava and jati, jara, marana, soka, parideva, dukkha, domana, supayasa sambhavanti, because you are dead in deep sleep. Not only you, Bobby, any person is dead. There is no individual. So why don't I mimic deep sleep in waking, and you're done? So that would be our experiment on, say, from 30th of November 2025 to 30th of December 2025. If we both can do it, we've done it. So you have a living monk by name Shaniel in Brisbane. So we can celebrate. So homemade monk. So we can write a, what we can say, a small biography on Shaniel Dio. Transformative experience of Shaniel Dio from being a half-brick CEO to An anagami.
A monk who sold his Ferrari.
Yes, a monk who sold his. No, his will be like this: the monk who kept his Ferrari.
Kept his Ferrari.
Nothing to CEO monk. Yes. Okay. So, or we can have another one called a CEO who looks always drunk. He's drunk on. He's drunk on bliss.
Yes.
Okay. So that 1 month from 30th of November to 30th of December is the embarking of this journey from a deep sleep experience every day, every given day, whether you're a monk or no monk, go to sleep. Can you sleep to the world? But you awakened inside. That's Nirodha Samapatti. And when you do it, there is no avijja. That is arhat. Because asavas are gone. Yes, Bobby.
Yes, you just said this Anenjabi Sankhāra is happening in the Aruba, and you also said it is the meaning is shaking, something like
Inja means to shake. Aninja means non-shaking.
non-shaking.
Yeah.
So why non-shaking in Aruba? You know, because it is so expansive. Nothing is.
Yeah. You answered your own question.
Oh.
There is nothing to shake. And by the way, Bobby, the ninth jhana is also arupa only. So you can't shake. Like in the sleep, can you shake, Bobby? Some people, even if you roll them, you do like this, they will not wake up. It's exactly what happens in Nirodha Samapatti. You can't be woken. No matter of shaking will wake him up. And even if you take him in an ambulance, he cannot be woken. Because it's gone on a ride. It's like having around 100 cups of ayahuasca. It's all right. What can anybody do about it? Or LSD or marijuana or whatever ride that can be. It's the most blissful ride.
Is that reason many suttas it is unshakable, etc. Unshakable. So it is this word is used there, Ananjabi.
Yes, Aninja. You see, there's a sutta itself by that name. That sutta. I can give you the number also later. It's on Aninja itself.
Imperturbable, that one.
Imperturbability. So that is, you just search for that English word. It says that only. No shaking.
Yeah, I think you took that recently.
Yes. Perturbed means what? Shaken up. Correct? The English word perturbed. I'm perturbed by whatever is happening. Means I'm shaken. I'm worried. I'm jumping around. Yes, Ariu.
Yeah, I guess I'm just wondering for this, these gas cars, usually when you stop the gas, you have to press on the brake. But for our hut, it's auto brake. Like this electric cars, it's just auto brake. So I feel like they don't have to put in a ninja Abhisankara. I mean, it's a ninja Sankhāra, but it's automatic, right? So it just brakes by
Yes.
itself. They don't have to put intention into doing that.
Nothing. No intention. It just happens. In fact, what's the difference between anagami and arhat? It's a good question. Since you asked, let me cover that up since I'm not an arhat asset. So it is good motivation for me. There are 5 differences between an arhat and an anagami. Now, Bobby, don't ask me which sutta talks about it. It's from my own personal experience. I'm seeing it. Okay, and maybe there might be a sutta which talks about it. There is one sutta in Majjhima Nikaya where he talks about differences between arhat and an anagami. Anyway, but he doesn't tell most of it like what I'm experiencing. So it's my experience here. Disclaimer. Okay. First, dhite dhite mattam. This is covered in the sutta. Okay. That means in seeing, there's only seeing, not the seer of the seeing. And same thing with other five. Dhite dhite mattam, sute sute mattam, mute mute mattam, vinyate vinyate mattam. Okay. Now, Veena, I think you are literally making it theoretical. Just leave it for time being. Okay. Now the second one is that after doing this, if he's able to do this, he can do the reverse forward of the Patisamutpada. This also is there in the sutta. What is in the forward, he can make it reverse, and what is in the reverse, he can make it forward. What does that mean is, starts with avijja pache sankhara, but he will not do that. He'll go from the back, just like Vipassana did. Keep on questioning what brings what. Okay, this is second. And this can be done even by anagami, but not all the time. So the difference here is the first one and second one, the Patisamutpada and this dhite dhite mattam, is something exclusive to arhat and not applicable, not fully there for an anagami, because there is forgetfulness. The sati is not that strong. So out of the four wheels and one driving seat, the saddha, virya, samadhi, panya, in that the three wheels are aligned, but the fourth wheel, panya, is not properly aligned, and hence he lacks panya. And hence Buddha talks about Cheto Vimukti as one and Panya Vimukti as another one in the Kitagiri Sutta. Why? Because the Cheto Vimukti is only the Chitta Vimukti, but no Panya has happened so far. And that happens in the seventh jhana, that you get rid of the self completely. So as long as you're in seventh jhana, there's no self. It's a weird experience, but nice to have. But then if there was nothing called as a wisdom base, then there was no need for an eighth jhana, which is neither perception and non-perception, and the ninth jhana, which is Nirodha Samapatti. So basically, without attaining Nirodha Samapatti, there is no complete liberation. He's only liberated from self in the mind. Okay, so 1 second. So that's a thing. Now, when he's liberated from the mind, Cheto Vimukti, there is still residue of asavas. When he gets into the Panya Vimukti, there is no residue of asava. So this Panya Vimukti. And Ubato Bhaga Vimukti is released from both sides. Not only Cheto Vimukti, he is having Panya Vimukti. If you read the Sutta, Bobby, Kitagiri Sutta, he says there is still work to be done by the Cheto Vimukti person. If you read it properly, he says there. And in every other downwards, that is the Ditti Pato, or even Kaya Saki, he says little bit work remains to be done. Then for Ditti Pato, he says the same thing. For the Sotapanna, that is one who is Saddha Vimukto, he says the same thing. Then if you go down to Saddhanusari or Dhammanusari, he says the same thing. Saddhanusari says the same thing. Out of 7 individuals, what he talks about, he closes the gate as completion only for 2 people. One is the Ubatobhaga Vimukta and Panya Vimukta. These 2 people don't have to do anything. As far as the other 5 concerned, they have to do. Why? Because they have not been able to establish the deep sleep state while waking up completely. That means they're cut off from the world, but still operating in the world. An anagami can do it, but not all the time. He gets sucked. So he has to go back to the jhanas, whereas these people don't have to get into any jhana. They are already released by wisdom. Okay, now do you require to be Ubhuta Bhaga Vimukta to get into Arhat? No. It's an addition over the Panya Vimukta. And hence Buddha says, for a Panya Vimukta, I call it is done. Doesn't have to do anything. So now the question comes, how should we understand the Dhamma? In this way, how do we understand it? It's like this. You have two paths merging into one. The first path is what Chuladasa is talking about. Sitting, meditating, looking at your breath, blah, blah, blah. That is the first path. Easy path. Because breath is normal. You don't have to do anything. The second path is slightly difficult one. You're going on a Panya route. That is wisdom route. This takes from a Saddha point of view. This take from a Dhamma point of view. So both start the same in two different operating ways. One on Saddha, one on Panya. Because when you start on the breath, you start to realize, oh, this thing is happening, this thing is happening, this thing is happening. And you can really see how you can manage it. So then you come into Saddha. Then this guy comes to Dhamma. That Saddha person will become Saddha Vimukta. Then this Panya person will become Dhitti Patho. Both are Sotapanna. And now they have to merge like this into Kaya Sakhi, which is Anagami. He doesn't talk about Sakadagami at all. Even in Satipatthana Sutta, you'll never find mention on Sakadagami. It's because in an intermediate state, we don't care much. There are only 3 stops. First stop Sotapanna, second stop Anagami, third stop Arhat, close. The bus ends. Anyway, now coming here, so then it turns like this. Now from here, the journey begins to Panya Vimukta. And how does he get Panya? He gets Panya when he sees the Sankhāra and cuts them, bringing in Vijja. And that's it. So basically, if we were to understand it in a very proper sense, it's not confusing, it's not worrisome, it's pretty straightforward, I would say. But if we go totally deeper into the language portion or the grammatical portion of Pali, then it might get into a mess because we don't understand most of what he's saying. Yes, Arya.
Just a question on the Kayasaki, right? So Kayasaki is Anagami, but yeah, when he later,
Go ahead.
Yeah, so for this Kayasaki, he has all the jhanas, and when he later acquired the Panya, he would have become Ubhuta Bhaga Vimutta. So he would not then come to Panya Vimutta, which is a different path, right? He wouldn't go there. He would just go to Ubhuta Bhaga.
Yes. Release from both the sides. So like Bobby, you or anyone who is meditating, basically like in the case of Shaniel, he can sit for long hours and then he can meditate. It would take them onto this Saddha Vimukto side and then into the Kaya Sakhi and then into Panya. Okay. For those people who are on Panya, like if I look at Anusha as an example, if what she says is right, and then she got a first taste of the experience when she heard some Sri Lankan monk saying, Iti imasmim sati idam hoti, imassa uppada idam uppajjati. So not that. Yam kinchi samudaya dhammam sabbam tam nirodha dhammam, she got it, which makes her a Sotapanna. On Panya, she got wisdom. And from ever since then, she's been getting good experiences of understanding. And we had her friend by name Karu. So he and I and Anusha, we had long talks on this, and then he believed that that's not how a person becomes Sotapanna and all that. So anyway, that's crap thing. But this much is sufficient on Panya side to get a Sotapanna. Okay, so it's pretty easy. It's not that anything is so tough there to, can't understand it. For some people, yes, they can't understand it, so they got to go by the Saddha route. So that's it for today, because I think Ryu has to step out, and then he has given me a very strict guideline to conduct today's session. So I don't want to antagonize him, and he wants to have a dinner, or sorry, lunch, right? Lunch with his, yeah. So he's going to have a lunch with his grandma and have a good time. So have a good time, and tomorrow when we meet up, I will cover on Avijja, and that ends this story, and then we will see other parts of the Mahatanha Sankhya Sutta, and after that we will come into hindrances which we have to remove. All good? Thank you. Thanks, Ari, for accommodating my request to record, and may you get all the merits for that.
Thank you, Teruvan Saranai.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.